Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Thursday, the 28th of May. Buddhist groups reject repatriation of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. China-backed economic corridor to get lion's share of Pakistan's budget. And India boils under summer heat as death toll crosses 1,400. And now for all the details. Pakistan's three-member judicial commission investigating the alleged poll rigging has ordered opening of the sealed ballot bags. Opposition parties had accused the Nawaz Sharif government of massive fraud in the 2013 general elections, which saw the first democratic transfer of power in the country's history.
Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairperson Imran Khan on Thursday welcomed the Judicial Commission's order to open the ballot bags. Khan said the order is a breakthrough in the rigging probe. The Judicial Commission had on Wednesday accepted the plea of Khan's PTI to open the sealed boxes. It has also ordered the opening of other poll documents related to the number of eligible voters and votes cast in all constituencies. The three-member commission headed by Chief Justice of Pakistan, Justice Nasirul Mulk, has asked to complete the process of retrieval of the forms by June 8th. The commission was formed to look into allegations of electoral fraud by Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League in the 2013 general elections, which his party won with a historic mandate. The opposition, led by the PTI, had however claimed that there was rampant misappropriation of votes across many constituencies. The PTI had also held a nearly 4-month sit-in demonstration in capital Islamabad from last August, seeking a judicial probe into the matter.
Even as a global community is calling for rehabilitation of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, radical Buddhist groups have rejected the demand. They claim that the stranded people are not Myanmar citizens.
Hundreds marched in Yangon, Myanmar's biggest city, denouncing the United Nations appeal to repatriate the boat people in the country. Demonstrators led by Buddhist monks condemned the UN for blaming Myanmar for the ongoing Rohingya crisis. The protesters also said they won't allow the hundreds of people who've been washed ashore to be rehabilitated in the country. They said the Rohingyas were not from Myanmar. Some 300 Rohingya Muslims had returned to Rakhine State on Wednesday after remaining adrift in the waters for nearly 3 months and failing to reach any neighbouring country. They were lured by traffickers with the promise of a better life in countries like Malaysia and Indonesia. The survivors recalled their harrowing experience in the sea. Some 800,000 strong Rohingya community is a religious minority in Buddhist majority Myanmar. Despite living in the country for generations, they are considered immigrants from Bangladesh and do not have citizenship or equal rights with others in Myanmar. The years of persecution and poverty have forced thousands to flee the country, seeking refuge elsewhere. According to the UN, some 3,000 people have fled the country this year alone.
Pakistan has allocated a mammoth portion of its new budget for its economic corridor with China. Islamabad is working with Beijing to fast-track the work for completion of the ambitious project. A report.
A huge allocation of over $19 billion has been made for completing the missing link in the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or CPEC by Islamabad. This includes 33% or one-third of the proposed budget of $56 billion by Pakistan's federal government for the fiscal year 2015-16. The whooping amount has been pumped in to fast-track the 19 development projects under the CPEC for the next financial year. The decision was taken at the Annual Plan Coordination Committee meeting presided by Minister of Planning Ahsan Iqbal. The $46 billion mega project is China's biggest overseas investment it has announced so far. The deal between the two neighbors was signed last month during Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Islamabad. The project aims to connect Gwadar Port in southeastern Pakistan to China's northwestern region of Xinjiang via Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Once completed, the corridor will provide a network of roads for transport, telecommunications and energy infrastructure worth of $46 billion. It also grants Beijing control of Gwadar, which faces the Persian Gulf through which nearly 20% of world's oil trade takes place. This will give China access to the Arabian Sea and open up an energy and trade corridor from West Asia.
Pakistan is promoting radicalism in Balochistan. Intellectuals call it Islamabad's ploy to counter the growing separatist movement in the southern province, which has remained under its illegal occupation for more than 6 decades.
Balochistan is facing growing sectarian massacres and attempts to intimidate the minority Shia community in the province. There has also been a mushrooming in activities of militia associated with banned terror outfits like the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, Pakistan Taliban and Sipahi-Saiba. Several intellectuals believe these groups aim towards ethnic cleansing of the mineral-rich province in Sunni-majority Pakistan. They believe Pakistan is promoting terrorism and radicalism to counter the freedom movement in the troubled province.
Southern part of Balochistan, Makran, for a long time has not been tribal, but it is being radicalized. And many people who live in that area have talked about the madrasas coming in. And that is probably of more concern than the immigration of the Pashtuns and the Afghans from the war.
Balochistan is Pakistan's largest but poorest province. The region, which was annexed by Pakistan in 1948, has been roiled by a separatist insurgency ever since. The Pakistani establishment has tried to crush the Baloch uprising for political autonomy and greater control over their resources. Activists have accused Islamabad of undertaking abductions and a kill-and-dump policy to end the freedom movement.
When I started to hear about the war in Balochistan, it was really discouraging because it was always a surprise to us why Pakistan didn't embrace and help what was going on with regards to the civilian abductions. And sometimes I think it's because there's a lack of familiarity.
Johnson added that local people in Balochistan want development and better opportunities towards leading a decent life.
Since development has been so uneven in Pakistan, almost every Baloch I've ever met wanted health, welfare, a chance to go to college, an opportunity for a job, and as long as they don't get that, they're going to fight for their rights.
According to the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, religious organizations are being strengthened in Balochistan, specifically in areas mired by insurgency. This has led to the persecution of minorities, something which was never seen or heard before.
7 people, including 3 men accused of hijacking a Pakistan International Airlines flight, were executed in various jails across the country early on Thursday. While 2 of the convicts were hanged in Hyderabad Central Jail, the capital punishment of the third was carried out in Karachi Central Jail. The trio was accused of hijacking a PIA flight en route to Karachi in 1998. 4 others, whose mercy pleas were rejected by President Mamoon Hussain, were also sent to the gallows on Thursday. Pakistan had lifted an 8-year self-imposed moratorium on capital punishments in December last year, following the Taliban attack on a Peshawar army school which killed 145 people. Over 100 people who had exhausted all means of clemency have been executed in the country ever since. Pakistan has an estimated 8,000 death row convicts languishing in its various jails. An unrelenting heat wave continues to grip India. With death toll crossing 1,400, the temperatures are only expected to further rise in most parts of the country. A report.
India is reeling under intense temperatures hovering around 45 degrees all across the country. The stifling heat has killed at least 1,412 people in less than a week until Wednesday, with southern Andhra Pradesh and Telangana accounting for 1,360 deaths alone. India's weather department has issued a red alert for the 2 states and asked the residents to take precautions. According to reports, most of the casualties are happening due to overexposure to heat and dehydration. Temperatures in Hyderabad hit a high of almost 43 degrees Celsius on Wednesday.
This year, summer is very severe. Due to that, our people are getting dehydrated and they are facing so much of feeling like fainting, and they are feeling very sick. Early morning, already by 8 o'clock is very severe heat, losing all their energy.
In capital New Delhi, forecasters said the high temperatures will continue into next week, adding to the misery of the residents who are struggling to venture out in the sweltering heat. The plains of northern Uttar Pradesh are also reeling under scorching heat, with mercury crossing 46 degrees at places like Agra. Tourists thronging the city of Taj Mahal are finding it difficult to cope with the Indian summers.
It's really hard for me, like 5 minutes walking and I'm full of sweat. It's really hard and I'm not used to it, and I think even the Indians are not used to it. I really struggle with the weather.
Holy city Allahabad continued to remain hot this week after it touched its season's high of 47.7 degrees Celsius on Sunday.
ये गर्मी पिछले एक हफ्ते से बिल्कुल आग जैसे बरस रहा है और ये आग जैसे बरस रहा है। लोग बाग बहुत व्याकुल हैं, परेशान हैं, आने जाने वाले राहगीर बहुत दुखी हैं। इसके बचाव के लिए लोगों को अधिक से अधिक पानी पीना चाहिए।
The heat wave conditions continued to sweep Haryana and Punjab as well, with maximum temperatures hovering between 41 to 45 degrees. Central Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh had no respite either, with provincial capitals Bhopal and Raipur facing the extreme weather too. Blamed on dry continental air blowing in from Iran and Afghanistan, the heat wave is forecast to subside only later this week before monsoon rains hit the Indian subcontinent, bringing relief to parched areas of the country.
The rule of kings might have been abolished in India when it became a democracy, but southern Mysore did not deter from coronating its king with exuberancy. Let's take a look at how the people welcomed the new heir.
Thursday marked Yaduveer Krishnadatta Chamaraja Vadiyar becoming the Maharaja of Mysore. The 23-year-old was handed the designation after a series of ceremonies at the city palace, making him the titular head of Mysore's royal family. The new king of the erstwhile Vadiyar dynasty was coronated at the grand event in the presence of family, friends, lawmakers and special invitees. Attendees at the ceremony called it a historic occasion.
We are proud of the heritage which we have been following, and more particularly the Mysore kingdom has done so well in terms of development in the state.
Yaduveer is currently studying at the Boston University. His family said the young king wanted to promote tourism in Mysore, known as the City of Palaces.
He's young and I'm sure, he will have a lot of new ideas and, a fresh mind. So we do hope that he will bring all these fresh ideas into the, into the palace and into the governing of.
Yaduveer became the 27th king of the erstwhile Mysore kingdom, which ruled from 1399 till 1950, when the rule of princely states was dissolved under the newly formed Constitution of India. The Vadiyar family is considered as one of the richest royals of the country.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories, once again. Buddhist groups reject repatriation of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. China-backed economic corridor to get lion's share of Pakistan's budget. And India boils under summer heat as death toll crosses 1,400. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. It's the same time tomorrow. Good night.